see that bell? It's limited edition. Try fish tank. Oh, so the username's correct. Wow, Mom, your status. What? Changed it. It sends me an email when someone changes their status on Facebook. It's funny. Profile change and comments and wait. Let's see. What? Can't really hack on a Chromebook one, and you can't really hack defined passwords, really. Really, to get on stuff like TV signal things. Someone actually did that, and it went throughout all the UK. It was funny. Yeah, I have a video too.
ROBLOX hack account, so.
Yeah. Let's see. It is TV broadcast. See, Doctor Who was on during this. Got classic Doctor Who.
I'll get you a hot drink, mate.
Some dry clothes.
As far as I can tell, a massive electric shock. He died instantly.
The generator? Are you always so careful?
Today we examined 4 unsolved mysteries. Let's talk about it.
Good mythical morning.
Thank you for letting us into your brains, your minds, your thoughts, your ears, your eyes, your hearts, your soul on a daily basis.
If you had the privilege of watching television in the late 1980s, you may remember a little show called Unsolved Mysteries featuring Robert Stack.
Join me. Perhaps you may be able to help solve a mystery.
Robert was amazing. He had an amazing trench coat and an amazing voice. I watched it with my grandma. I watched it with my mom. And of the 80s into our own mysterious person moaning, laughing, speaking incoherently, and wearing a Max Headroom mask. I'm gonna show you a clip here. And imagine just watching TV in the 80s, you Doctor Who-ing it up, and then all of a sudden, this breaks in.
I'll get you a hot drink.
And some dry clothes.
Here he is. Pretty scary, right?
This is not part of the Doctor Who broadcast. Doctor Who can be a weird show, but
Not this weird, not this lo-fi.
he held up a Pepsi.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
said the catchphrase, catch a wave, catch the wave.
Well, that was a Coke catchphrase because you may not know that Max Headroom is an 80s icon, the first computer-generated TV host in Britain, exported to America, and was in Coke commercials.
Right.
I thought he was pretty cool and creepy as a kid, but that masked version was even creepier.
But he didn't. The thing that makes Max Headroom is the stuttering.
He wasn't able to simulate that.
Fail.
He appeared there and a little bit earlier in the 9 o'clock news. They never figured out who it was. There was a clip I won't show you. It jump cuts to him with his pants down, and
Thank
a
you for
woman
not showing
in
that.
a French-made outfit is swatting his hiney with a fly swatter.
A French maid outfit or a French maid outfit?
A French-made, M-A-I-D
Oh,
outfit.
okay. I know
realize
where you're
when I
going.
say maid, it sounds
A
like
French-made outfit. It was
could go either way.
very nice.
The hijacker, his hindquarters, and his accomplices were never identified. Come on, it's been so many years since 1987. I don't need to do the math to know that it's long enough for you to come forward.
You think they watched GMM?
Gloat. I mean, there's someone on Reddit who thinks they know who did it, but they're not saying they're the person who did it. Person who did it, hijacker, come forward, gloat, take credit for it.
Okay.
Wave the mask around. You're awesome. We'll interview you on this show. Bust the mystery open.
How about this inexplicable enigma? There is an aged stone bridge on the road to the famed Overton House in Scotland. Since the 1950s, many dogs, approximately one per year, and have been compelled to jump to their deaths onto the rocky rapids 50 feet below. 50 feet below. That's feet. Mysteriously, some dogs that survived the drop were brought back to the bridge where they jumped again.
What?
Seriously, once a year, a dog jumps to his death off of this bridge. Now, a couple
Is it
things
the
to note.
same day every year?
No, but it's the same side of the bridge. And it's always in clear weather, and it's always dogs with long snouts. Okay, so
Smeller. It has something to do with the smeller.
right, so they brought these people out, some animal habitat experts to investigate what was going on. And this guy discovered that there was potent odor from male mink urine, and possibly minks that were peeing down there, I guess, around the river. And apparently dogs just love mink urine.
Mink pee.
So much so that they'll kill themselves over it.
Huh. Well, they're not killing themselves. They're going after
They're
mink.
going after it. But I mean, this is a big jump. This is 50 feet, as I said.
But everyone doesn't agree.
They don't agree because local hunter John Joyce, he's a 50-year-long resident of the area, says, "There is no mink around here. I can tell you that with absolute certainty."
No comment on the accent.
So he says there's no minks. So maybe
And naked beneath a dumpster of the restaurant. DNA testing. The documents in the hospital.
That's a good last
by
name.
The police.
Let's make his last name Kyle because it's a great first name.
This guy's been through an ordeal to find out who he is. First of all, look at his picture.
He looks so confused.
This is the expression of a
Who
man
am I?
who does not know
What are
who
these red ant bites?
he is.
I'm serious, guys. Who am I? Maybe I should wear a mustache.
FBI fingerprinting, DNA testing, facial recognition, hypnosis. He's even been on Dr. Phil, y'all.
No. And Dr. Phil has a mustache. Maybe that's where he got it from.
He did a Reddit AMA in 2012 and again in 2013. There was one false Waffle House lead that came out of
Oh
that.
yeah, I know about those false Waffle
Reddit
House leads.
and Waffle House
I follow them
leads.
all the time.
Dime a
right off
dozen.
the bridge.
He's the only American citizen listed as missing despite his whereabouts being known. He's in this limbo where for the past 8 years, he cannot get a social security number because the government says he already has one, he just doesn't know what it is. So he
Weird.
can't get a job, can't do anything.
Inexplicable.
So he just poses for photos making that face. If you know who this man
No,
is,
don't ruin it for him. He's the awesome dude that doesn't know what's
let
going
us
on.
know.
You know? Don't ruin it for him. He won't be a celebrity anymore. How about this? On November 24th, 1971, a man calling himself Dan Cooper was on a Boeing 727 aircraft heading from Portland to Seattle. He dropped a note into
The afterlife is a topic shrouded in mystery and speculation, ultimately leaving us with very little factual data to go on. However, in countless instances, some children have claimed to remember their past life, often telling others about it in great detail. An interesting fact to note is that after these children reach the age of 5 or 6, they seem to lose all recollection of these memories and often don't even remember telling others about them. Here are 5 of those stories. Number 5. This first story is of a guy from Scotland. He says that while he doesn't particularly remember the story himself, his mother told him about it when he was older and still firmly believes it to this day. He says, when I was about 4, we were driving through Scotland, and I'd never been to Scotland before in my life. We stopped at this pub in a small village. I got out of the car and said, "Oh, my favorite place," which my parents thought was a bit weird, but just sat down and got a drink, and my dad looked around and said, "Where are the toilets?" I apparently leapt up and took him by the hand straight to the toilets, which were actually tucked away right behind a fake wall. Apparently, my parents were just a bit unsettled, but assumed I'd seen them on the way in. But that's when it got weird. I was telling my mom about how much I used to love coming here and sitting beside the fire. There actually wasn't a fire in the pub at all, so my mom laughed and asked me what fire, and I pointed to a wall and said that there used to be a fire over there. She shrugged it off, but then I carried on and went into detail. I claimed I used to live out here and came to the pub nearly every day. I was friends with the owner, Fred. My mom went and spoke with one of the bar staff and asked if a man named Fred used to work here, to which she replied, "Oh no, sorry miss, Fred died over 10 years ago." My parents say it was one of the spookiest things. Obviously, maybe I'd seen a sign, maybe I'd noticed the toilets when I walked in, or seen a picture of an old fireplace on the wall. I don't remember. But I choose to believe that I used to be an old farmer with a local pub in Scotland. Number 4. This next story is terrifying and comes from a guy who claims to have died in his late 20s along with his girlfriend. He says, "When I was a child, preschool age, I used the wrong words for stop and come back. When asked about this, I told my parents a story about it being late at night, and I stood in a long line of people on a road that curved around the hillside. I was worried about my papers. I heard a gunshot and the people in uniforms checking papers came walking down the line yelling for me. I was a late 20s male and had a female partner. I took her by the hand so we could run for it down the hill. I remember thinking I just need to make it across the river because of the dogs, and we need to go now to have some distance before the men in uniforms get too close. We ran and the men in uniforms started yelling the words I used as a child for stop and come back. My partner tripped. I stopped for her, but the men were too close. We both turned face down.